How's it going, you guys? Today in this video I'm going to, I suppose, debunk a common vegan propaganda myth that is spread on the internet, and it's really interesting that they have the balls to actually spread this lie, because it's actually very elementary and very easy to debunk. So first of all, I'm very pro-science, and a lot of the things that vegans say about certain studies, such as saturated fat does increase cholesterol, serum cholesterol, also dietary cholesterol does increase serum cholesterol. These things are true. A lot of the things that they say are true. However, a lot of it is half-truths that don't actually measure up to meat is bad. Okay, so today we're going to talk about homocysteine. Okay, so this is really funny to me. I've heard so many times from these vegan pseudoscientists claiming that meat causes inflammation and it causes disease, specifically heart disease, mainly because it raises homocysteine levels. They say that animal products are the highest source of cysteine and methionine. And cysteine and methionine increase homocysteine. They're precursors to homocysteine. So homocysteine is associated with greater risk of heart disease. Meat, dairy, eggs are highest sources of precursors to homocysteine. So therefore they say animal products cause heart disease because they increase homocysteine. The problem with this is they leave out the fact that homocysteine is a precursor to glutathione. And glutathione is your body's master antioxidant, along with others such as superoxide dismutase. Okay? And these are our body's natural antioxidants and defense mechanisms. And through your diet, you can increase the production of glutathione, or you can decrease the activity of glutathione by eating what we call pro-inflammatory foods, like having an imbalanced omega-6 to omega-3 ratio, and eating a lot of processed sugar, and many other factors. Nutrient deficiencies can cause this as well. So anyway, there's a video that I watched earlier today by Dr. Greger himself. And in this lecture, he basically said, the video was basically explaining why vegans and vegetarians can have the same risk of heart disease as people who eat meat. And in the video, he was blaming it on omega-3 to omega-6 ratio. And he claimed that flaxseed gives you more of these active omega-3s than omega-6. Or he was saying that flax seeds give you more omega-3 than salmon, even though flax seeds cannot be compared to salmon because there are two completely different types of omega-3s. You get ALA omega-3 in animal products as well, just not to a higher degree. But anyway, he was saying that, flaxseed is the highest source of omega-3. It's higher than salmon. Okay, obviously that comparison is retarded. DHA and EPA is not the same as ALA found in flaxseed. So already that's, just a stupid logic. Anyway, he was then trying to say that, so he was saying that omega-6 ratio to omega-3 is the first reason why, because most vegans, they eat too much omega-6 and not enough omega-3. That's what he was saying. He was saying that's why vegans have a high risk of heart disease as well. And then he said homocysteine levels. He was saying, obviously he was saying that meat and animal products are the highest source of homocysteine precursors, the amino acids cysteine and methionine. And then he was saying in order to lower your homocysteine, which lowering your homocysteine is another dodging of the full truth. He was saying you need B12, vitamin B12, B6, and folate, as well as choline, in order to lower your homocysteine levels. Now, then he proceeded to say that you get the majority of these, besides folate, in animal products. He was saying that B12, choline, and B6 are mainly found in animal products, and this is why a lot of vegetarians and vegans can have higher homocysteine. So you can supplement, right? The problem with this is he's misleading people to think lowering homocysteine with these nutrients. Here's what's really going on here. If you have high homocysteine, what that usually means is you are deficient in nutrients that convert homocysteine into glutathione. Glutathione is your body's master antioxidant that neutralizes free radicals. In fact, it's more powerful than vitamin C. And the main benefit of vitamin C as an antioxidant is to help spare glutathione if you're lower in glutathione. So to help spare glutathione, vitamin C neutralizes free radicals first. And then after glutathione oxidizes, supposedly vitamin C can help glutathione recycle itself. The funny thing about that is when you eat meat and eggs, you're supplying your body with adequate amounts of cysteine and methionine, which are the precursors to homocysteine and then glutathione. Also, meat and eggs are high in B12, B6, and specifically choline. Especially eggs are very high in choline. Eggs are high in all the precursors to glutathione. Okay? So if you eat eggs and animal products, you're eating cysteine and methionine, and that's going to increase homocysteine. But then the other nutrients that are synergenic, the B6, the B12, the choline, they actually turn homocysteine into glutathione. So without these synergistic nutrients, if you're eating, a lot of like low-fat animal products or fat-free animal products that aren't high in the fat-soluble choline, which is actually a lipid nutrient, then obviously you're going to have high homocysteine that is not being converted into glutathione. And glutathione is protective of heart disease and cancer and all these other things. But homocysteine, without converting homocysteine into glutathione, now you're going to have less activity of glutathione, which is an antioxidant, which helps to neutralize inflammation in the artery, which causes heart disease. So this is something I hear people like Vegan Gains talk about all the time. And Vegan Gains like, if you want to lower homocysteine levels, you got to lower your levels of cysteine and methionine. Well, guess what? If you lower cysteine and methionine, god damn it, I can't even say it right. If you lower cysteine and methionine, you're also lowering the building blocks of your body's master antioxidant, glutathione. So, do you really want to lower your body's building blocks to its master antioxidant in order to prevent homocysteine, which is a precursor to glutathione, your body's master antioxidant? Doesn't it make more sense to eat more nutrients that convert homocysteine into glutathione? You see, this is a real example of vegans misleading people with misinformation. Most of this whole vegans, they cherry pick studies and they mislead people and blah blah blah. Most of the people that say that crap don't actually have a good example. They don't really know what they're talking about. Like, they don't really believe that most of these meat eaters that say that vegans are misleading people, they don't actually have any clue what vegans are doing to mislead people. Like, they're just like, oh, they just cherry pick studies and blah blah blah. Like, these people that say vegans are misinforming people and cherry picking studies, they're just repeating the same thing that they hear from other meat eaters. They're not actually breaking down the things that they're doing and connecting the dots and explaining what vegans are misleading people about. You know, they try to say, oh, like cholesterol, you know, when you eat eggs, it doesn't actually increase your serum cholesterol. Actually, that's wrong. Both saturated fat and dietary cholesterol have been shown to increase serum cholesterol. The only reason why people can get away with believing otherwise is because of the faulty study designs that you see in these egg studies, where basically people have very high serum cholesterol before they start the study, and then they add high cholesterol foods and they notice their cholesterol levels don't get any higher. The reason for this is because when you already have high cholesterol levels in your blood, your serum cholesterol doesn't raise any higher. So in order to have an effective cholesterol study, you have to measure baseline cholesterols first and take people who have very low levels of cholesterol and then add more dietary cholesterol and see what happens. And there are studies that they've done that with, where they take people at low baseline cholesterol and they start adding more cholesterol and saturated fat to their diet, and then they see a rise in serum cholesterol. And there's many studies, a lot of studies actually try to claim like, oh, saturated fat doesn't increase cholesterol, blah, 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 where the more saturated fat and cholesterol people eat, the more their blood cholesterol, the higher their blood serum cholesterol actually rises. But the thing about that is, like, instead of debating like, oh, does dietary cholesterol increase my blood cholesterol? Why the fuck do you care? Maybe you should be questioning, does high serum cholesterol actually mean higher incidence of plaquing of the arteries? What are the other variables that play a role in this? And again, it goes back to inflammation and this whole like, homocysteine crap. Essentially, when you eat high inflammatory foods or foods that cause metabolic stress or oxidative stress, okay, this triggers inflammation, because inflammation is a healing response. And inflammation causes nutrients and blood flow, promotes it to circulate towards the area of damage to repair the oxidative stress or the metabolic damage, which is what inflammation actually is. And cholesterol happens to be a part of this healing process. And so when your arteries swell, you know, plaquing and restriction of the blood flow, etc., you know, cholesterol plays a role in that, but it's not. Is it really the cause? Maybe we should be looking towards inflammation and oxidative stress instead. And a lot of the science goes towards that. The interesting thing is, vegans are like, oh, you know, meat causes cholesterol, and they found cholesterol in carotid arteries and whatnot, and in the autopsies of people who died of heart attacks. So yeah, sure. What about inflammation? Well, now they come up with this bullshit where they leave little bits and pieces of information out of the process with homocysteine and whatnot. And it's really crazy. I saw that from Dr. McGregor himself, who all the vegans think are like, he's like the be-all, end-all. Well, the problem is they just hear these things that he says and they believe it without looking further into it. So anyway, you can look at all of these carnivore diet people who have their blood tests, and sure, like, you know, Sean Baker had some weird shit in his blood test, no doubt. But what you see in all of these people, as long as they don't exercise beforehand, is across the board they have lower levels of A1C and inflammation, lower levels of triglycerides in the blood, etc. They have lower blood markers of inflammation. Other things you keep hearing from these people is that all of their inflammatory conditions go away when they just eat exclusively meat, okay? So how the fuck can animal flesh be causing inflammation of the arteries when all of the people who eat exclusively animal flesh, they're eating like 4 to 5 pounds of animal muscle meat a day? How do these people have such low levels of inflammation? I've heard some people say, oh, it takes time, even though a lot of these people have been doing it for like 5 or 6 years. Other people say, oh, it's placebo. Oh, it's genetics. How about this? Like, seems to me like there's more to it than these people want to admit. And it seems like meat and animal foods, not all of them, but most of them just don't cause inflammation like we thought. And when we look at mechanisms like this, we can see that animal protein provides cysteine, it provides methionine, sulfur-rich compounds to increase homocysteine, and then it also includes things like choline and B vitamins to convert that homocysteine into glutathione. And guess what, guys? Glutathione is the body's master antioxidant that helps repair oxidative damage, which we can see is the root cause of inflammation of the arteries and arteriosclerosis before cholesterol and all that, okay? Inflammation comes first and then cholesterol. And that's why we see high blood levels of cholesterol in heart disease patients, because inflammation, and then the cholesterol comes to repair that damage. It's not because, oh, like they eat so much cholesterol and it causes heart attacks or whatever. Cholesterol is there to repair that damage. And I wouldn't say blood cholesterol really is indicative of heart disease in the first place. And then there's also studies that show the greatest death of heart disease in people with low cholesterol levels. And then what vegans try to say is like, oh, well, there's many causes of that. You know, when people are leading up to death, like, you know, they eat less food, which means lower levels of cholesterol. And, you know, when they get sick, you know, a lot of illnesses and things can cause low cholesterol. And then, like, they're probably on statin drugs with lower cholesterol, etc., etc. And so when they're getting close to death, they have low cholesterol levels because they're just not eating enough cholesterol and they're on cholesterol-lowering drugs. So that's usually what they say. And then they also say, oh, they're just older, and older people just naturally have lower cholesterol. So the fact is that people with low cholesterol and heart disease actually die more than people with higher cholesterol and heart disease. That's the fact. But then there's only these like assumptions and you know, kind of like iffy, weak explanations as to why, although it does kind of make sense. It does. Anyway, so yeah, I just want to put that out there. And I also want to say that I notice a lot of these people that are doing these meat-only diets, they look like they're like superhuman. Like they get super jacked, super muscular, super lean, and they all report amazing energy, amazing mental strength, and amazing physical strength. And their life is just like on steroids all of a sudden. And all of their health issues seem to miraculously disappear. And we also see that we don't need fiber to, you know, digest these things. So like a lot of these myths are like completely debunked when people actually say fuck all that and they just eat nothing but meat. But I don't eat nothing but meat, but I am kind of like transitioning into that. So we'll see what happens. So let me know what y'all think down below. Is it genetic? Is it a placebo effect? What's going on here? You know, am I wrong about homocysteine and glutathione? Let me know in the comments.